loss of the season. Nate, would you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, what the one before that was Charlotte.
Was Charlotte, right?
Yeah, and
right.
then
It sucks that they come in the same week.
Yeah, it's just something's off. Something's off.
Right.
Maybe it's fatigue. I don't know. I know there's probably fatigue with Sabonis.
Right. Oh my gosh. I mean, yeah, the amount of minutes that they're throwing him out there.
Yeah, and everyone's talking. The talk of the Kings is backup center, and there's no one to fill that role.
Mhm.
We were talking pre-show.
Yep.
Once I saw Rashawn Holmes beginning of the second quarter come in.
Yep.
Mike Brown, he's looking for something. He's looking for a playmaker. He's looking, because obviously Rashawn doesn't fit into the system. He's not playing. He's not useful here in SAC. He was looking for just any spark.
Yep.
So
he was definitely searching. I mean, it was a rough watch yesterday. Mike Brown was clearly searching for any form of answer. I mean, the Kings played really well to come out the gate. Domantas Sabonis, of course, has been doing what Domantas Sabonis has been doing all season, and he came out ready to go. He had 8 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists in like the first when the first timeout was called of the game. He was incredible yesterday, as he's been for pretty much the entire month of December. But the team, you asked what's wrong with them. To me, I mean, it does seem like these guys are kind of feeling themselves a little bit. And, to me, especially in the Charlotte game, it seemed to me like it was a big reality check. And it was one of those games where they felt like, oh, Charlotte coming in had 7 wins. We're not afraid of. They're coming to our house. We're the Sacramento Kings now. We're balling. We got Kevin Huerter out there pulling from 3. Malik Monk scoring 20 points like it's nothing.
We're the 5th seed.
We're the 5th seed in the West. They're like the 14th seed in the East. I think they were feeling themselves. I think they thought, much like, you always hear come playoff time with teams that are veteran, like the Miami Heat right now. People will say, oh, they're just coasting through the regular season. But once games start to matter, that's when they'll flick the switch. And, that's when they'll start to, just play different. It'll be a completely night and day team.
Year.
The Warriors
That's what everyone said
exactly.
last year with the Warriors. And
exactly. And I think the Kings, for whatever reason, felt like they had that switch that they could flip, and they could allow, they can allow the Hornets to be in the game, and then they'll flip the switch and it'll all be good. But that's not what happened. What ended up happening was they allowed the Hornets to absolutely set the tone in that game. They were getting just destroyed in the paint. What was it? I have it written down here: 72-58 advantage for the Hornets in the paint on Monday. They out rebounded the Kings by 14. Listen to this. The free throws as well. Absolutely. I cannot go through another game where the Sacramento Kings are just absolutely horrible at the free throw line. I mean, it sounds like it's not a cliche, but it's I don't know. It's like a old man yelling at the clouds. It's just like, make your free throws.
I know. Yeah.
Like they're free.
That's my dad just screaming at the TV because he has PTSD from the 2002 Kings. So he's just
right. Maybe it's one of those things that's like just built in our identity. Apparently, it's just like, we just missed free throws, and that was the Kings' worst free throw shooting night of the season. Shot 55% from the line. And it was really a similar thing last night against Washington, where Washington completely set the tone in the paint. They outscored the Kings in the paint 70-50 last night. The Kings could not get into really, after Sabonis got taken out in his first stint, it seemed like all the ball movement stopped all of a sudden. Domantas Sabonis, of course, it does not stop with Domas. Domas still managed to get a triple-double last night, his second consecutive triple-double. So Domas is absolutely doing his part, but Kings finish off with 19 assists.
10 for 10 free throws, too, for Sabonis.
Really?
Yeah, and Malik Monk also 6 for 6. So, but Malik Monk, I believe, is top 10 in the league in free throw percentage.
He's above 90%.
Yeah.
He's really, I mean, you see Kevin, I don't know what's going on. We might need to do like a seance, or like, remember when Kyrie Irving went around the court and like saged the entire court? We need to do something.
To forget it.
We need very fair. We need to do some form of ritual for Kevin Huerter at the free throw line, because this is a guy who coming into his career, or coming into Sacramento this season, has been an 80% free throw shooter. And I believe, let me see if I can pull up right here Kevin Huerter's free throws.
Well, I think everyone sees too with Kevin Huerter is he's missing these technical free throws.
Right.
And I think he made against the Lakers, he made one. They gave him one, I believe. But for some reason, he keeps missing free throw. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know. Maybe it's just I'm paying attention to it more and seeing it. So, hyper analyzing it. But that's something it just doesn't make sense because he's such an elite shooter.
He's a great shooter. I mean, even the season, he's still shooting 41% from three. His career average coming into this season was 78% from the line. This season, he's shooting 68% from the free throw line, which is absolutely a career low from him. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, like you said, he's a great shooter. It just seems like one of those things. I mean, with free throws, it really is. It's just a certain amount of focus. You always hear guys who Dwight Howard and DeAndre Jordan, they will swear to you that in practice and shoot arounds, they'll make all of their free throw. They'll make 50 out of 55 free throws. I don't know why I threw that number out there, but they make their free throws in practice, but come game time, for whatever reason, the stress, the pressure, the fact that, they're in the middle of a game and then all of a sudden it just stops. There's a flow to it. They're making decisions like this and like this and like this. And then all of a sudden the game just completely stops, comes to a halt, and all the pressure's on them. All the focus is on them, and they miss. But I don't think that's at all what's going on with Kevin Huerter. But I hate to see what's happening with the Kings at the line right now. But it wasn't all negative this week. It was definitely not a lot of positive. I think
2/3 negative this week.
Quite literally
66.666% negative this week.
It absolutely was. I mean, like it was like the overall feeling you come out of the week tomorrow, once you have a little bit of separation from Friday, this is absolutely a disappointing week. I mean, I on my predictions from last week, we weren't on air. We weren't on radio, but we had an online exclusive show. And when I did my look ahead to this week, I was predicting 3-0. Every win should be by 10 plus points. The Lakers, the Wizards, and the Hornets are some of not the Lakers. The Lakers, I think, are 18th in defensive rating, but the Hornets and the Wizards, the two teams that the Kings lost to, are bottom 5 defenses in this league. And the Kings just didn't take advantage at all. They instead of getting stops, they were just like, we can outscore these guys 100%. And, that's absolutely not what happened. But, there were some positives in that Laker game. It was a fun game. It was an incredible performance from the starting lineup. I shouldn't say all 5 starters, because 4 starters scored 20 plus points. Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray, Kevin Huerter, De'Aaron Fox, all with 20 plus points. The only guy who didn't score 20 points was Domantas Sabonis. What a scrub, right? Gosh, maybe we should look for a starting center, not just a backup center.
Let's get our money back for the Halliburton trade. Please. Let's go ahead and please. Is there a gift exchange on that? Is that how that works?
Yeah, you didn't ask for the gift receipt on that one. All Domantas Sabonis did, he didn't score 20 points, so he's a bum, but he did score 13 points, grab 21 rebounds, and get 12 assists for his second triple-double of the season. So I guess, like, if you're into triple doubles and stuff like that, then
4 for 4 free throws too. That's really 2 games in a row, 100% from the line.
That's a real accomplishment considering what his teammates are doing. But I don't really have. I feel like it would be disingenuous to try and really talk too much about the Laker game because, like I said, I mean that's not what this week was about. It was a good win. I think the fact that they lost to Charlotte, that kind of re-centered them a little bit. It refocused them. And it's hard to not get focused for a Laker game, with all the emotions that go into that. But, they definitely could have let that one slide. No AD, no Russ. You could definitely look over that game and be like, there's no way we're going to let, I almost said Austin Reeves, but he was also out for that game. Lonnie Walker had himself a nice game, but you figured LeBron wouldn't be able to carry the Lakers in that one. And he tried. He definitely tried. He finished with 31 in that one, but not enough as the Kings were able to squeeze out a win this week against Los Angeles Lakers. But that is absolutely not what this week was about. It was definitely a week of disappointment. And, if you want to call that Laker game a step forward, they absolutely took two pretty major steps back with their losses against Charlotte and Washington this week. With it being the holidays, I figured this show should be a little bit more festive. So coming up on the other side of the break, I'm going to give you my Christmas wish list for the Sacramento Kings this season. You're listening to Kings Weekly right here on Sacktown Sports 1140.
It's Kings Weekly with Chris Watkins.
Brian Radke here from Sunday Night Football on Westwood One. It's a Christmas night NFC battle coming up from Arizona when the Cardinals host Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. Tampa Bay has seen their South Division lead evaporate over a 2-game losing streak. Now they face a Cardinals team eliminated from postseason, but looking to play spoiler. Join Mike Golick and me for all the action on Sunday Night Football.
Get ready for the game with more details and preview at WestwoodOneSports.com.
Football season is underway,
with Chris Watkins.
so now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back. If your first bet doesn't win, just sign up with the promo code WIN. FanDuel has all your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props. So sign up today with promo code WIN for your no-sweat first bet. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Must be present in state where lawful to wager. 21 plus in select states. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit fanduel.com/RG. Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. Arizona 1-800-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/check. Connecticut 1-800-9-WITH-IT. Indiana, Kansas 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com. Louisiana 1-877-770-STOP. New York 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789. Wyoming, West Virginia 1-800-522-4700 or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net.
Today I'm at Elk Grove Dodge, where it looks like Vince Bloom, the big guy,
also known as Father Christmas.
Well, yeah, Vince, you are dressed like Santa, which means you must be giving out some sweet deals for the holidays.
There's nothing sweeter than saving money on trucks.
So I can expect some big savings on, say, new 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorns?
You read Santa's mind. Right now, during the Big Finish event at Elk Grove Dodge, save $12,000 off MSRP on new 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab 4x4s.
Vince, $12,000 off new 2022 Bighorn Crew Cabs?
That's right.
$12,000 is a lot of money, and you've got enough for all of Santa's helpers because, we've been very good this year.
I sure do. I've got 15 of these new Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab 4x4s, and they're all $12,000 off MSRP, starting at $42,520.
Now through January 3rd, save $12,000 on 15 new 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab 4x4s.
Only at Elk Grove Dodge, and the Elk Grove Auto Mall, and online at elkgrovedodge.com.
Include $6,000 in 2022 Big Finish and California retail bonus and bonus cash. Sample VIN 455, 158, expires 1/3/23.
All right, Michael Dave here, letting you know when the housing market shifts quickly like it has the last few months, having the right mortgage company on your side is crucial in this ever-changing market. We've got just that lender. It's my guy Shelby at United Wholesale Lending. Now you can check them out at refinancewithshelby.com. They're fast, they're local, and competitive. Shelby's team, as I've told you for years, is well known in the real estate market from real estate agents, title companies, appraisal companies. United Wholesale Lending will even get your offer fully underwritten and approved up front so you can compete with the cash offers. With the increase in inventory, the market has shifted from a seller's market to a buyer's market. Buyers now have the opportunity to shop for the home that's right for them instead of settling for what was available. You can always refi as soon as rates come down, or United Wholesale Lending has alternative loan options like a 2-1 buy down. RefinanceWithShelby.com. That's RefinanceWithShelby.com. NMLS number 279051. BRA number 01864354.
It's Kings Weekly with Chris Watkins.
Welcome back to Kings Weekly.
We gotta fix that rejoiner. That one was tough. It cuts out weird.
There's some music in there.
There's music. There's music in here.
No. In the rejoiner, there's just
yeah.
a little bit of like
I didn't even hear that. It doesn't work. Yeah, hey, a little behind the scenes, guys. If you want to know how the show works, That's how we do it. We figure things out.
We do. That's on the fly. This is we don't quite have the same marketing or budget as
we do not. This is not the Carmichael Dave show with Jason Ross.
Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this is not that show.
No, it's close.
Not that show.
It's close.
It's
maybe not.
No, I don't think it is. I really can't think of a single.
We're working on it though.
We're working on it. Let's get into my wish list. It is Christmas Eve. It is also Hanukkah is also going on. I actually don't know the specifics of like when Kwanzaa happens.
I was about to ask.
I know that it's traditionally during the this holiday season. I just don't know when exactly it falls. This is my ignorance showing.
I didn't know Kwanzaa was a relatively new holiday as well too. I didn't know it was I didn't know.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Learn something new every day. And that's why this is not the Carmichael Dave show, because you learned something today. Just kidding. Kidding. I'm sorry. That was unnecessary. It's not like they're not listening. It's fine.
No.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get into my Christmas wish list here. Pretty self-explanatory. As you know, you tend to ask for things come this season, and it only felt right that I make my own little Christmas wish list for the Sacramento Kings. And this is, like I said, pretty self-explanatory. This is going to be me saying the things that I feel like, if something could just magically appear out of nowhere and be added to the squad, these are my top choices. First off, it's the thing that me and Nate were talking about earlier today. It's the thing everyone, it seems like, has been talking about for the Sacramento Kings, really for a majority of this season. It's not that hard. It's a backup center. I'm not saying playing backup center isn't hard. It's just not hard to figure out. If you watch any of the Sacramento Kings this season, you can tell that they have absolutely been searching for an answer at backup center. The first 8 games of the season, Rashawn Holmes was thrown out there. It just wasn't, for whatever reason, it was not clicking for Rashawn. I don't know if it's the new scheme that he's running. I don't know if it's the lack of not having somebody like a Tyrese Halliburton who's always looking for him as that role man. Him and Tyrese really built an incredible rapport with Tyrese's year and a half here in Sacramento. When was I think we've seen one Rashawn Holmes push shot this season, and we used to see 2 to 3 a game. And we just haven't seen that Rashawn Holmes. So he was pulled after 8 games. Chimezie Metu was then brought in, if everyone will remember, in that 90-point first half against the Warriors. Chimezie Metu came in during what you would call garbage time in that late third quarter. And that's when the Kings made a run, was when Mezzi came in. They were able to switch everything. It just seemed like things started clicking when Mezzi was inserted into the lineup. And then you really saw Mezzi take that role and run with it. He played the next 20 games in the rotation, and there were some highs. There were definitely some highs offensively. The Kings love to run that play where they run a lob for him, and he was really. Mezzi is an incredible finisher at the rim. His leaping ability is incredible on the offensive end. The problem is you don't really see it too much on defense. He's an incredible leaper. He's not really much of a shot blocker or a rim protector. He can really move his feet, but he really struggles for whatever reason to stay in front of people. And I just don't think he was the overall answer at the backup 5. I think he's been the best option that we've seen. Especially recently, as we've seen Neemias Queta get inserted into that backup big rotation in the past couple games. He came in that Philly game, really got, the best term for it is he got schooled. Joel Embiid absolutely took him to class and taught him a few things. Neemias was in for 3 minutes, and I think he got 3 fouls in those 3 minutes. Didn't see the floor again. It was a learning experience, big time learning experience. That was Nemi's first action of the season. And for him to just get thrown in against a top 2 center in this league, maybe Jokic or Embiid, you could have that argument. That's not going to be easy. And of course, Neemias is still just trying to figure out the NBA game in general. And for him to really, that's the definition of getting thrown in the deep end. That's getting thrown in with sharks. He unfortunately got eaten by a shark. But you saw some positives in that Laker game. Neemias was great. 5 of 5 for 10 points, some, he was great on the lobs. He had an exciting lob thrown by Malik Monk that he threw down, but everything else really has it. You can just tell that the game is a little bit too fast for him right now. And the only way he's going to, that's going to get resolved is through playing time and getting used to NBA speed, because NBA speed it's not G League speed. It just isn't. We've seen Neemias, he really has struggled defensively as well. Neemias Queta has not seen a shot that he does not think he can block. And he goes for just about everything, and has came up short more times than not. And especially in that Hornets game, you saw him, he would go for the block and just completely leave his man unblocked out, and his man would just get an easy putback. So those are the kind of things Neemias needs to learn if he's going to get, really ingrained into this rotation. But I don't see it. I think it's interesting to me that Alex Len hasn't gotten any run. Alex Len's a big body. He's mobile. We've seen him be a great screen setter for this team in the past, and I think screen setting ability is something that that you might not be the playmaker that Domas is, but Domas is also an incredible screener, and if you can set those off-ball screens, that's just as valuable in terms of creating space as being a three-point shooter or anything like that. If you can make your teammates open just by screening off their man and just being such a big brick wall, that's huge value to the team. So I'll be interested to see if maybe Alex Len gets a shot. I'm not saying he needs to be fully ingrained or get 5 straight games in the rotation, but I'd like to see what he can do. Nate, do you have any thoughts on the backup center?
He might get Alex Len. He might get what Rashawn got last night. And I know you're saying like, oh, well, why didn't he put Rashawn or Alex Len in last night, but he put Rashawn in? Maybe it just wasn't working. I don't know. I think Alex Len might get a shot. Yeah. Like you're saying, just to get in there, get a spark for the team. Yeah. Just do something. Right. Get a block. Get some energy going. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's a big guy. He's talented. He's going through a lot too. I know his family's definitely in Ukraine.
Right.
And he hasn't. I think I've heard that he doesn't even know if some of his family members are alive or
I've
not.
Heard the same.
It's that crazy.
Yes.
So I'm sure he's got a lot going on.
Definitely.
But out of these guys, Rashawn, Mezzi, Queta, and Len, it seems like the only answer out of those 4 would be Queta if he develops.
Right.
But if that's a big if. That's a huge if. And you don't want it when you're a top 7 team in the West. You don't want to be figuring out a guy. You don't want a guy in your lineup who's trying to figure things out, because you're trying to make the playoffs. You're trying to win. So I think the trade deadline is going to be where a move is made. Absolutely. For a guy. I don't know exactly who. I know Monty's done a great job so far. So
Monty we trust.
Do you think it could be a guy like Mo Bamba or something? Because I know he's on the trade block. They were asking for a first, which is ridiculous.
Insane. Not happening.
They're not doing that. I've heard counters for 2 seconds. I don't know.
Seconds
I mean,
are harmless.
Yeah, unless it's Jokic, but yeah.
100.
Yeah. So I just I don't know. I mean, I think you're gonna need outside help.
Yeah, definitely. I've heard the Mo Bamba whispers. I also hear Mason Plumlee all the time. We just saw Mason Plumlee just do Mason Plumlee stuff against us on Monday.
Killer.
Yeah, absolute king.
He's
a monster on the like he is the, when you think of a prototype of a player that we're thinking of, like someone who is a good roller. He's a good role player. He's a good on the pick and roll, but he is also a good role player. He's a guy who's not going to try and be, I don't mean this as disrespect, but Rashawn Holmes wants a bigger role with his team. He wants to use his backup minutes to eventually warrant getting more minutes. He probably won't ever be a starter on this team with Domas, but he wants a bigger role with this team. Mason Plumlee might, because if he's going to be a backup center, Mason Plumlee's been a starting center the past 3 years of his career. I don't think Mason would cause a huge uproar about not being a starter, but it would definitely be a different role for him.
I got a question. Yeah. I got speaking of Kings killers, what about Montrezl Harrell? He's up in Philly right now.
Gosh,
he's getting about 11 minutes.
Killer.
Yeah.
Woo!
He's getting about 11 minutes.
He's in Philly, right?
He's in Philly. Yeah. He's just not, averaging just under 5 points per game. But I
like it. Yeah. I like that, because you know what also this team needs that they really don't have is just like a dog. like a dude who's just
Yeah.
like
he's about to fight Giannis.
right. They need someone who's got some like real like dog is the only word I can think of, because they just need that grit. They need somebody who's not afraid, who's going to bring a level of intensity, and also will hold the guys on the court accountable. I think, you know, it sounds crazy to it sounds crazy to say like this, like it's a bad thing, but the Kings honestly have a lot of nice guys on their team. And I'm not saying there's not a level of accountability on the team, but sometimes you need that guy that
you need Draymond.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Steph and Clay are too nice.
Exactly.
You bring in Draymond.
Someone who really will set the intensity. Like sometimes, you might not always like that guy. You might think that guy's extra. You might think, oh, like he just doesn't quite, you know, we're a bunch of nice guys and he's kind of not saying. Also, I'm saying on the court. I'm not saying anything about Montrez.
You need that. You need that extra, that oomph, that like the X factor, the willing to fight for you, willing to get down, just
I think
whatever.
The crazy thing is, at the moment, if you were to pinpoint who on this team is that guy right now, it's Mike Brown.
Okay.
Right? If anyone's going to really get into the guys and like really try and hold them accountable, or like really be like calling people out saying, you're not doing this, like we need this from you, I think it's Mike Brown. And, you know, that's a good start.
It's different when it's the coach, though. It's totally different.
Way different when it's the coach. And it's way different when you have a dude who's legitimately in the rotation as well. Like if you're not playing, again, like your voice is just, it's going to get drowned out. It just is how it is. But if you can get a guy who's playing legitimate minutes that's also getting into you, like that's the kind of thing I think this team needs.
It just makes me think like if Davion was vocal and loud, he would be the perfect. The way he plays, the way he just always looks so angry.
We saw
and
Patrick
he just
Beverley the other day.
Doing the short thing.
Yes, just being a pest.
Yeah, just being annoying. I don't know if his teammates even like that. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't.
Patrick Beverley might take it a step too far.
Yeah, you have to back it up too. Davion would be so perfect, but he's not. I guess if you want me to say, I would say Malik Monk is the closest. I mean, he just brings high energy, and it's more positivity.
Right,
though,
it is.
Which is the issue. You need that negative, angry.
You do. You really do.
Yeah.
It sounds funny to say, but you need some negative energy on the team.
Someone's got to be a little cynical.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Someone just needs to, it just bases you in reality. Like, again, like the Kings probably don't lose both of those games against Washington and Charlotte if they have, in my opinion, if they have a guy who's really like, there's a really popular clip a couple years ago when Trevor Ariza was on the team. And it was during the preseason, and the Kings posted it on their social media channels where, like I said, it's preseason and they're at a shoot around or a practice or a walkthrough or something like that. And Ariza stops everything. They're running a drill. They're running a set, practicing a set. Ariza stops everything. And he goes, hey, everyone huddle up. Hey, have we earned anything? Like, have we accomplished anything? Then why the hell are we acting like it? Like we need to go out there every single game and act like we are trying to prove ourselves every single game. And I just think it's like, they don't have anyone on their team. They don't have, I mean, I think Harrison Barnes is the oldest. Dellavedova is the oldest player on the team, but Harrison's like the oldest guy in the rotation, second oldest guy on the team at 30 years old. And like, they just don't have that veteran, like that super veteran kind of guy that's just like, I've been here, I've been through the trenches, I've been on winning teams, I know what it takes. And like, we just don't have the right level of like fire and passion that you need to have in order to win these games. Like you can't come out and expect to win anything in this league. And I just feel like they're missing that guy. Let's move on here because we got to get things going. My second wish on this list is kind of similar, and I'm not going to spend nearly as much time on this one, but I just think this team needs another 3 or a 3-and-D versatile wing. Someone that, you know, you look at the team right now, everyone has a backup except for like a true backup, except for Harrison Barnes, in my opinion. You have Davion Mitchell coming in for De'Aaron Fox. You have Malik Monk coming in for Kevin Huerter, Terrence Davis as well. And I guess you could say Terrence Davis comes in at that backup 3, but Terrence, I think, is more of a natural backup 2. You have Trey Lyles coming in for Keegan Murray at the 4, and then we all know what's happening at the backup 5. So in my opinion, you need that guy that can come in for Harrison, can come in for Keegan maybe, and just kind of, they obviously on the offensive end, they have to be able to shoot. There's no way, what's his name? KZ Okpala would be playing right now if they were just looking for a long, versatile defender. We've talked about it about KZ for all season. We talked about it with Mo Harkless last season. You can't just be a defensive player, unfortunately, on this team. They need you to be able to contribute offensively for this thing to work. And they just need like that 6'7" long, rangy guy who can shoot. If you can't shoot, I think it'd be more beneficial if he was a shooter over. If you're just an okay defender, I'll take being a 38+% 3-point shooter. But at bare minimum, they need a good defender who is a good to average 3-point shooter. Someone like a Torrey Craig,
about Eric Gordon.
Yeah, Eric Gordon almost might be too qualified.
Yeah.
He might be
33.
too good. Right. He's also more of a 2, I guess. I think they just need they need a bigger body. They need a rangy kind of guy that they can throw on. I always use Paul George as an example. Not that Paul George is an easy guy to stop, but they need somebody of that frame that can guard those kind of guys. So Keegan can kind of not get thrown into the fire on those as well.
The problem is me personally don't want to see Harrison Barnes leave. So, I mean, are you saying specifically a backup?
I think specifically a backup. Okay. I think, because
John Collins is always the talk for the past 2 years.
Right. And like you said, I just don't think it would be beneficial for the Kings to trade Harrison Barnes for, like, let's say they trade, in a hypothetical here, they trade Harrison Barnes for this 6'7" or whatever, this wing that I'm talking about, and a backup center. I don't think that makes the team better. I think you need to add to what we have and try your best to not take away from what we have. I think Harrison is perfectly fine. He's solid. He doesn't have to be moved, especially considering the value that he brings. But I just think they need to find somebody else that can get into their rotation as well. And then finally, this is the most obvious to me on my Christmas wish list for the Sacramento Kings for 2022. I guess this would be my 2022 wish list. Playoff basketball. I mean, this goes without saying. This is the best shot we've had in a while. That Dave Yeager year they had a shot, but I don't think the play-in was a thing at that time. This year they have to, they don't have to, but they can definitely lose in a play-in game situation, but they have to put themselves in that playoff play-in contention. So far, it looks all good. The Kings are currently sitting at the 6th seed right now in the Western Conference. That would be a playoff team. We're looking at a playoff team at the moment, not a play-in team. But can they get this monkey off their back? 16 straight, not that everyone doesn't already know, but 16 straight years of not making the playoffs. On top of that, people don't talk about this as much. 16 consecutive losing seasons, which is an NBA record. It's one thing to not make the playoffs. Sometimes you finish above 500 and you just, it's a really stacked Western Conference. But for them to go 16 straight years of not having a winning record, that's something that we're probably going to go to the grave with, ladies and gentlemen. We're probably not ever going to see an NBA team go 16 consecutive seasons with a losing record. So let's at the bare minimum, let's snap that streak. The playoffs, if you lose a play-in game situation, at least I can talk myself into hope for next year of breaking it. Man, 16. We need to nip that losing season thing in the bud right now. And this is the best start that they've had since 2004, 2005. We're talking, end of the glory year. Once the playoffs drought really starts, this is the best record that the Kings have had at this point in the season. So they're looking good, but as we see Domantas Sabonis possibly pick up a thumb injury, they have we're going to get into it later in today's show, but they have a rough week coming ahead. They could very easily be 500 at the end of this week. And, at that point you start getting nervous because every loss at that point kind of weighs a little bit more. And the more and the more the pressure stacks up, we're getting into the meat of the season, the middle of the season. People are going to start picking up little injuries as they get tired, as their body gets worn down. they just, they got to take care of it. They got to take care of it this year. This is the best shot they've had. They got to make a move at the trade deadline, try and put themselves in a better situation. Coming up, we just did Christmas wish list. It only makes sense with the new year coming up as well. I'm going to give you my New Year's resolutions, things that I promise. It's like Bart Simpson writing on the chalkboard, things that I will not forget in the 2023 year. Coming up right here, you're listening to Kings Weekly on Sacktown Sports 1140.
The place to tell you if the 49ers are contenders or pretenders.
It's a pretty big deal. I've been a fan of the 49ers since, 84.
Your home for 49ers news and talk. Sacktown Sports, your local sports leader.
I'm Craig Ashton with the injury law firm of Ashton & Price. It may sound contradictory for a personal injury firm to wish you a safe holiday season, but we at Ashton & Price wish that no one has to suffer an injury in an automobile collision. But if you're an accident injury victim, you can lean on Ashton & Price to do all the legal legwork and introduce you to the best medical care providers in the area. So during this holiday season, you can focus on your health and your family. So from all of us at Ashton & Price, we advise you to have the happiest and safest of holidays.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Jiffy Lube's Country in the Park, Northern California's biggest country music festival of the year, is back May 5th and 6th at Cal Expo, starring Lady A, Chris Young, Brett Eldridge, and so many more. Plus, a Boots Boot and Line Dance Saloon, interactive lounges, and Sacramento's best food trucks. Weekend passes start at just $85. Tickets are on sale now at sacktownsports.com. Country in the Park, brought to you by Coors Light, E2 Family Winery, and Xfinity.
Who has the largest selection of golf merchandise in Northern California? The Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. It's the go-to store for golf bags, apparel, equipment, lessons, club fittings, novelty items, and more. With their low price guarantee, curbside pickup, complimentary gift boxes, and gift cards for your golfer, it's the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Add convenient online shopping and effortless after-Christmas return policy, and you'll see why the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop is the #1 choice for golfers everywhere. Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway or online at hagenoaks.com.
Santa's doing trucks at M&S Auto on El Camino just off the Cap City Freeway. And nothing says happy holidays like a Silverado 4x4, Tacoma, or Wrangler from M&S Auto, the intelligent car buying experience. And with over 300 vehicles in stock right now, you can choose the truck you love today and bring home your holiday tree with it tonight. Trucks, Teslas, American muscle cars, M&S Auto Group, the intelligent car buying experience. MSAutogroup.com.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you ordered a new air filter for your car. You try to install it, but it doesn't fit. So you take a little bit off the sides. Well, still doesn't fit? Well, you could try to sit on it. Or just go to eBay Motors and get it right the first time. With over 122 million parts, they have the parts that fit your vehicle. Air filters, tires, headlights, brakes, and more. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors, let's ride.
Some things can wait. Decorating for the holidays. Shopping. Hey, there's always next day delivery. But if you're 50 or older or live with a chronic condition, untreated COVID could be deadly. And if you don't get treatment within days, you might not be able to. So, got COVID symptoms? Talk to a doctor and get treatment right away, because it just can't wait. We can do this. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
This holiday season, switch to Boost Mobile and get a single line unlimited plan for $25 a month and
a partridge in a pear tree
coverage on America's largest 5G networks.
How about 7 swans of swimming?
No, but if you're not satisfied within the first 30 days, Boost gives you your money back.
Turtle doves, French hens?
The lowest truly unlimited plan on the market, one line for $25 a month when you switch.
I'll take it.
Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. Limited time offer. New customers only. One line for $25 per month with autopay. Device must be returned in like new condition. Monthly service refunded via e-gift card. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
Stimulant use disorder is a disease, not a choice. But getting help is. Make a change by choosing treatment for your meth or cocaine addiction. Find proven treatment options at choosechangeca.org.
My mother owned Christmas. Well, not in a literal sense, of course, but she had an extraordinary way of making sure the holiday was perfect for her family. Hi, I'm Frank LaRosa for Naturewood Home Furnishings. I'll never forget my daughter's first Christmas when every present out of the tree was for my mother's first granddaughter, while the rest of us had to look in the spare bedroom for our gifts. Now, those memories always bring a smile to my face. My mother always taught, have a bit of Christmas in my home every day of the year. That could be a tiny happy Santa bauble, a sparkling memento on the wall, or a comfortable rocking chair. Naturewood Home Furnishings will help you find the perfect accent piece for every room in your home during their annual holiday sale, including unique mirrors, clocks, wall art, rugs, chairside tables, curios, accent chairs, recliners, lamps, and more. You'll find that perfect bit of Christmas for your home. The memories you make with your family will be with you forever. Naturewood Home Furnishings off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Tune in every Wednesday to the Carmichael Dave with Jason Ross show for Wine Wednesday, where they whine about plays, calls, everything from the past week in sports. Wine Wednesday, brought to you by E2 Family Winery.
Kings Weekly with Chris Watkins on Sacktown Sports.
All right. Time for the New Year's resolutions.
Real quick,
Yeah.
I want to address something in the
Please.
chat. Mojo earlier today was talking about a power forward being more important than a backup center, and I don't see it. I mean, again, I think you'd be getting rid of a key asset to the team, and that's probably not what you want to do right now.
Yeah, I mean, their backup four also, like, you can throw Trey Lyles. I mean, I think Trey Lyles has been solid. He had a good game last night.
Yeah.
Trey never really overextends himself. He's just a really solid backup power forward.
You know what
option,
you're
in my
getting
opinion.
from him every night.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And if you need something different, I think that's where you can put. I think Chimezie Metu is a more natural power forward than center.
Yeah.
I've liked to see him at center. I think it was an interesting experiment, but I think he's more of a natural four. So I think we're actually pretty solid at that position.
Yeah.
But
I just wanted to address that real quick
Yeah.
before we get into that.
No,
or
absolutely.
into this next part.
Yeah, my first I don't have this one written down, but my first New Year's resolution is to never again talk about the Minnesota Vikings on this show. Last Saturday, as we were doing the online exclusive, as I said, the entire time we were recording, so that was from about 11 to 12:30. We went a little long last week. Vikings were losing 33-0 at halftime. And the entire show, I'm just in pain. I'm in misery. I'm like, oh my God, I'm watching the TV right here on my right. And I'm just like, they're just blowing this. And I'm supposed to be doing a radio show right now. And I can't because my team is dying right in front of me. And what do? They just literally make the biggest comeback in NFL history. And
They had a 0.6% chance of winning at the lowest point. I don't know.
I
how
would
you
like to say I
calculate that.
enjoyed it, but I just think that this is coming from a lifelong Minnesota Vikings fan.
Yeah.
They're frauds.
It's the wrong purple you're rooting for. I think just stick to the Kings.
There's something wrong.
And you're good.
I know. And I said last week, I cannot believe that the Kings are the team that is bringing me the most pleasure right now of all of my sports teams. And then here they go and have the week that they had. So first on my New Year's resolution is never talk about the Minnesota Vikings as this show is going on. So this will be the last time that I talk about the Vikings as they're tied 10-10 right now with the New York Giants. And I'm definitely not watching as the show is going on. But let's go into my official New Year's resolutions, because I honestly, if we're being honest, just like many New Year's resolutions, I'm going to break that Vikings one probably next week. First one. This is a big one for me. So I know this is going to be a shorter segment, but I'm going to try and keep this as concise as possible. The past is the past. Let's leave it there. I'm so tired of these long-term conversations about players in the past. And I'm not talking about the way back. I'm talking, I don't want to hear any more talk about, the Kings should have just drafted Luka. I'm tired. Like, it's past. There's nothing we can do about it unless Luka Doncic really loves De'Aaron Fox. I don't think, and Domantas Sabonis. I don't think there's any chance Luka Doncic is ever going to suit up for the Sacramento Kings. We don't need to talk about that anymore. It's in the past. I know they messed up. It was a generational mistake in the moment. It looks worse and worse as the days goes by. Luka had 50 last night. I just don't need to talk about it. There's nothing positive that comes out of that conversation. We all know Vlade messed up. We knew at the time Luka was going to be a generational talent. Some people, for whatever reason, had their doubts. Let's just stop talking about it. Marvin's not on the team anymore. We don't have to worry about that
gone.
mistake.
Vlade's
gone.
Yeah, Luke's gone. Everything's gone.
Everyone's gone.
Except for, like, Gentry. But
except for Gentry.
You know, I don't really know what his role is right now. And Vivek, obviously.
Yeah, Gentry's just like a front office guy. He was in Vegas this week for the G League showcase. He just kind of like does he's like the Kings ambassador, if you will.
He's a good ambassador to have.
Yeah, great ambassador to have. Alvin Gentry is an all-time human. Like, he is so funny.
A people person.
Big fan of Alvin Gentry. So yeah, don't need to hear about Luka. Don't need to hear about Marvin anymore. Marvin was a mistake. He's a bust. We get whatever you want to say. We don't need to talk about it. He's gone. That problem's no longer with us. I'm sorry, but this applies to the Tyrese Halliburton, Domantas Sabonis trade.
Dude, I'm so over it.
I'm need to hear about this anymore. I just don't. Like, we can all, it's tired. Everyone knows both teams won. Did the Kings possibly lose more in the long term? Absolutely. Sure. Tyrese Halliburton, again, hit a game winner last night, had 43 points last night. We know Tyrese is incredible. He was not doing that for the Sacramento Kings. It just wasn't going to happen. I don't know what Tyrese's career high was, but you could watch him and De'Aaron play, and you could just tell it might have worked out eventually, but Tyrese was not going to be the player that he is right now on this team. The way that it was situated, Tyrese is a lot more of a natural point guard. He needs the ball in his hand. And it either would have taken a couple years for them to figure that out, and De'Aaron would have had to completely readjust his game to be more of an off-ball kind of guy. It just wasn't going to work.
It wasn't going to work. And I think the issue is here. You said that it's obvious both sides won the trade. I don't know if you said obvious, but both sides won the trade. I don't think everyone sees it like that.
They don't. No, they don't.
Yeah, and that's the issue. I think I want to say if you're logical and reasonable, you see it like that, but I'm obviously biased because I'm a diehard Kings fan. But yeah, it wasn't going to work. We couldn't move De'Aaron because of contract and age and all, so many factors. We moved we moved who we had to move to get who we had to get. Mm-hmm. Both sides won. And you said that we lost in the long term. We don't even know that yet. Right. We may not have. We don't. I don't know. There's so many factors that will decide that.
Yep. So I don't even think that we can properly evaluate the trade until Sabonis either re-signs or doesn't re-sign with the Kings. Because to me, that's the real sign.
That's the X factor.
If the Pacers get Tyrese Halliburton for the next 10 years and the Kings only get Sabonis for 2 years, then sure, absolutely. That looks like a mistake because the Kings had team control of Tyrese Halliburton for a certain amount of time, and they opted to take the riskier move. But that's completely not acknowledging the fact that the Kings are where they are right now because of the move they made. You can't have both. The Kings, I don't see them having the same levels of success that they have this season if they're running out Tyrese Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox again. So I don't want to hear about it anymore. Well, let's move on. Second on my New Year's resolution is never, ever, 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 no matter what you're doing, do not miss a Mike Brown press conference. Mike is an all-time sound clip. This guy is incredible. We started off the season, he set the tone strong with the Mike Brown yell that we all know. And that happened during, what was that? That was Media Day. Media Day, Mike Brown had the infamous scream that we all know now. Then he comes. A week later, the Kings premiere the run, and you see Mike Brown during training camp with his "Turn the Jets On." That was a classic. Last night, Mike Brown calls Katie Christensen up to the stand at pregame at the pregame press conference, and has Katie like a news reporter up there saying, De'Aaron Fox leads the NBA in charges. And then he's feeding her information. Hilarious. Mike Brown putting his foot on the table and saying Malik Monk deserves Sixth Man of the Year. Who else? Greg Popovich is not giving us that kind of content. Mike Brown is an absolute content machine. And as someone who curates content as my job here at Sports 1140, I appreciate the work that Mike is doing because he is a godsend. And never, ever, ever miss a Mike Brown press conference in 2023. That should absolutely be everyone's New Year's resolution. And you know what? We're a little bit tight on time, so I'm going to skip my last resolution.
I want to bring one thing up. We just had a caller. We just had this guy, Sam, call, and he brought up a good point. Just something that's easy to forget about. The Kings got the rights to Sasha
Vezenkov.
Yeah, Vezenkov
Yes.
over the summer.
Yes.
They drafted him. Well, technical rights,
Yeah,
drafted,
right.
same kind of thing. No one really talks about him.
No, they don't. I was
Yeah.
talking about him the other day, actually, with Brendan and Frankie. And it's interesting. I mean, Sasha's a
he's older. He's 26.
Dynamite shooter. Yeah, he's a 26-year-old. He's a great shooter in the Euro League. The questions, I mean, the reason why he didn't come over is because his role. It was very unclear what his role would be. He's a star in the Euro League. I think he might have won Euro League MVP.
He did.
He's not going to come from being an MVP, being the feature of his team, to maybe getting
8 minutes.
What's Trey Lyles? I mean, he's coming in his first season. He's got a lot to learn. There's going to be an adjustment period there. He doesn't have a starting role, anything close to guaranteed. He's not going to come over here just to try and refight the battle of trying to get minutes. He just went through that in Europe. He wasn't a guy who was like a Luka Doncic, like who was a prodigy from a young age and then became this MVP of EuroLeague. He's a dude who legitimately had to work his way up through the ranks, earn minutes, and then eventually got this role and has succeeded in it. And I don't think he's going to give that up anytime soon, but it's absolutely a good thought. It's just, I don't know also how much, I mean, Sasha is, like I said, he's a great 3-point shooter. I don't know how much he's really helping like we said earlier, I just don't know if backup power forward is a major need on this team right now.
I think it's important though that you get that out there and talk about it. Like
right.
It's an option that people aren't talking about, and why. I think that was a great explanation to why he's not coming here. That makes sense. I guess money would be the thing. I don't know what the price is. Big. He might be making millions more here, but who knows?
Right. No, it's a good point though. Do we want to go to break? Do we want to wrap it up?
We're wrapping up here, guys, on Kings Weekly.
Yeah, we're going to wrap it up here on Kings Weekly. I'm going to quickly, just really, really quickly run through our preview our previewing of next week, just because, that's how we like to end every show. The Sacramento Kings currently sit at 17-14 on the season. On Tuesday, they play a back-to-back Tuesday and Wednesday against the best team in the Western Conference in the Denver Nuggets. We know what that means. That means Nikola Jokic comes into town, 2-time MVP in this league, goes against, the closest thing you have to Jokic in this league is probably Domantas Sabonis. That's going to be an incredible matchup. Last year, we saw 2 epic battles with those two guys. Sabonis averaged 23, 15, and 6 in his 2 matchups with the Kings against Jokic. Jokic 21, 11, and 10. So both guys just absolutely get their numbers against each other. It's incredibly fun to watch those two battle. I think surprisingly, Sabonis has done a great job of bodying Jokic. Jokic is obviously a 7'3", I'm going to say he's 300-pound big man who, is been a 2-time MVP in this league. And for Domantas Sabonis to show the level of effort and grit and strength against Nikola Jokic that he showed last year really, really impressed me. So let's hope that Sabonis's thumb comes up all good. Hopefully he's able to play this week because they're definitely going to need him against Denver, back-to-back against Denver on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then on Friday, they play, if the Kings are definitely one of the top stories in the league so far, maybe number 2 behind the Utah Jazz, who were meant to be a bottom feeder in this league, literally meant to be in the pole position for the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes. And what do? They're 19-6 with under new coach Will Hardy. Lauri Markkanen's been incredible, a potential all-star. I don't know if I have him in my list right now, but just with the way that Utah has played this year, Markkanen averaging 22 points a game, he's been a huge part of it. I'm excited to see that matchup against 2 of the bigger surprise teams in the NBA so far this year. So it's going to be a fun week, but it's going to be a tough one with Denver and Utah in town. Like I said earlier, the Kings can very easily be at 500 again at the end of this week. And if they do that, they have an easier stretch of games after this, and especially in the middle of January. But they're going to need to get through this tough week of basketball. My prediction, I'm going to say I think they go 1-2. I don't think that they split the series with Denver. I think they lose them both to Denver and win against Utah. I just think Denver's too tough. Denver's not a great defense. So look out for the Kings to maybe maybe that's how they win one of those games, is just having one of those explosive offensive nights that we've seen them have at Golden One Center. But I just think, Denver's at full health now. Michael Porter Jr. just came back the other day. Jamal Murray has only missed a handful of games so far this season. Aaron Gordon's having a career year. Aaron Gordon, a local guy, will be coming, not that local guy, shout out Drew, but he is a local guy who will be coming back into town on a career year. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough week. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it because, it really can't get a whole lot worse than what we saw last night against the Washington Wizards. That's going to do it for our show today. Thank you so much, everyone listening. Like I said, if you're tuning in after that week of Kings basketball, you're a true fan, and I really, really appreciate you. My name is Chris Watkins. On the other side of the glass, Nate Littlefield. Thank you so much for helping out. Nate, you are the best, man. Everyone have a phenomenal Christmas weekend. Happy holidays to all. The plan is to be back on New Year's Eve. I'm not sure if that'll stay that way, but check my Twitter account to see if we will be on next week at Chris M. Watkins. Thank you all for listening so much. This has been Kings Weekly right here on Sacktown Sports 1140.
Hey, Kings fans, you got questions? We got answers. Send all your Kings questions to kingsmailbag@sacktownsports.com and have them answered by the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross and Cattles and Rami during our